In our last video, we looked at the Data Mart Studio, which was this environment where you keep all your customer data together in one place to make sure that you know your customers properly before engaging in a conversation with them. Now we're doing customer activation, and the idea of customer activation, of course, is to make sure that you can activate your customers repeatedly. So that means you need to identify every touch point that you have with your customer and make sure that you have a campaign, a reply in place to make sure that you can leverage those business opportunities with them. Now, the way to do that in Actito is by using scenarios. So to go to scenarios, you go to the left-hand side again, and you go to manage scenarios. Scenarios are customer journeys. They are that perfect dream of a marketer who wants to send out the perfect communication at the right time to the right person using the right message through the right channel. So we've got all that data as you've seen in the data mart to leverage that. So let's just look at how we can start using that to actually, again, activate those customers at the right time. And this is something, moment marketing is one of the most powerful personalizations that you can leverage today. And you could send out an ugly email at the right time. It'll still be more powerful than sending the most beautiful email at the wrong time. So what you see here is a drag and drop builder of those customer journeys. At the left-hand side, you can see here that there's loads of blocks that we can use, and there's different kinds of them. So as I said, you want to send out at the right time. So to get to the right time, you need a good trigger. As a trigger, you could use a specific date, anniversary, first purchase date, purchase of a loyalty card, openings of an email, website visit, a new profile in your database for a welcome sequence, other interactions that are involving your purple tables, for example, participations to a forum, a change in segmentation. So as we mentioned, someone migrating from the platinum segment to the gold segment. You want to build a retention scenario. This is the trigger that you'll use. Start of another scenario based on an API, for example, it's more advanced, is also something you could use. New subscription or someone entering a targeting, like the one we've built in the previous video. That's for getting the right moment. You want to make sure that you get the right people so you can build all sorts of conditions on that. All those people that have gone through this trigger, I want to make sure I get the right ones. So I got a couple of filters that I can use to make sure that I get the right people. No one likes to get 5 emails in a row. So there's a couple of waiting blocks, again, to leverage the right moment for your communication. And then there's actions that you can use to select the channel you want to use and fill it with the message that you need to convince your customer. Now let's put that into practice. Imagine that we have a new profile entering our database. First thing that you should do as a marketer is be able to say hello to those people. So we're going to build a welcome sequence. I'm going to attract every new profile in my database, and I'm going to send them a simple hello mail. Now that email can contain a call to action. Buy a second product or buy your first product if you haven't bought a first one yet. So I'm sending an email, and that actually is already saying hello. Now, typically, there's more you can do, of course, with that. We want you to go further with that. So, for example, we can check whether that person has actually clicked our email campaign. If they have, then we can leave them be. If they haven't, they might just missed out on an opportunity. So we can do a relaunch, send a little reminder. We can even check after how many times we want to contact them. So this says 48 hours. I could say 3 days as well. And then I select my campaign to track, of course, which is a welcome email that you build in the email editor. And you've got your first block here. Now, again, you can go a bit further. Say that we haven't really triggered that person to convert, or we can use an A/B testing, for example, and use two different channels. We could start using email again to see if that works better, or we can send an SMS and see if that channel converts better. Now, given that SMS costs a bit more, we're going to do some savings as well. We're going to make sure that we send out our SMS to only 20% of our database, because that's typically a more expensive channel. Once we see that SMS works better, we know that we can make that investment and we send out with SMS. So this is a small example of a welcome program. You could build that out further, and there's way more things that you could do with that. So I'm going to take you to a little pro scenario just to give you an idea of what that might look like in the future. Now, what we advise you to do is think big, but start small and start the day. So, one thing that you should keep in mind is you're working with automation. Automation runs its course. If something's wrong and you're too late to pick that up, then things might go south. So you want to make sure that you test with small scenarios and you can expand them as you progress and as you see what actually works. So I'm going to take you through this one. In this case, this is a retention scenario. You have a customer that has decreased in customer value. Could be from platinum to gold, from gold to silver, silver to bronze. We're going to reactivate those people by sending them a retention email. Now, there's two things that could happen. Either they're going to receive my email or they won't. Imagine that they do. Well, if they receive my email, then I can check have they clicked or not. If they have clicked, I'm going to trigger a new scenario that is really focused on reactivating content. If they don't click, I send a little reminder. And if they still haven't clicked after that, after 48 hours, then there might be something wrong with that customer. They might be unhappy or anything. So I'm going to start another scenario, which could typically be an NPS scenario that could capture negative feedback so that we can do something with it. If my email doesn't arrive, imagine that we have a false email address, customer has changed email address, things like that. If that happens, then we can check the segmentation of that customer. Is that customer a gold customer? Because that means that they bring in a lot of money. They have a high customer lifetime value. So we could start to consider more expensive channels as well. So if they're in a gold segment, then I'm going to check, do I know their phone number? If that's the case, well, then I'm going to check with SMS campaign or a call center campaign. Call center campaign typically is more expensive than an SMS. So I'm going to put that weight 20% call center, 80% SMS, see what works, and double down on that once I get my results. If I don't know the phone number, then I can use print, for example, to get a personalized print campaign to reactivate those customers with, again, a bit more expensive channel, but I know that these customers are worth the investment, so I can make it. And this is how you can leverage this automation, not just to make money, but to save money as well. It's a really powerful editor. There's lots of things that you can do with it. So do discuss with your customer success manager. Check out our website for more examples, or just reply to this email and we'll be happy to discuss with you what could be your next scenario. Hope you enjoyed it. See you for the next.